Ed mentioned it in his press conference. Marty Smith of ESPN said something about, you say it's just another game, but it's not. It's number one versus number two. And Ed had a perfect response. He said, you're right. It's a big game, but every game's a big game in the SEC. To get to your goals, to get to an SEC championship game, to be in the playoff, you have to go undefeated. This is a huge test, but it's the same as Auburn last week. If we lose that Auburn game last week, it's totally different. We lose Florida game, it's different. Texas, I mean, every game in the way college football is now, it's almost a playoff. And yes, the loser could sneak in, but it'd be everyone feel a lot better if you won and just took care of business.
I'll just say this, and I think this is a perfect time to kind of dive into not just predictions, but just kind of the feel of how I think is going to start transpiring this weekend, or what's going to happen. I think what Ed is saying in deflecting this being a national championship level game coming up.
He is deflecting, but he's also right.
No, he is right. Look, if we're sitting here as players, if we're sitting here as coaches, it is absolutely the right thing to say, because guess what? For the past decade, okay, we have put this game up on that magnitude as a team.
Possibly too much.
Right. And that has never worked. We have seen, guys, we've had talent, right?
Yep.
We have just clammed up. We have tight butthole.
I mean, we had Danny
shit.
Etling.
Yeah, no, we have tight butthole this shit every game. And we play so tight because we have 2 weeks of just sitting around hyping this shit up. And it's media, it's fans, it's everything like that. The players, they get sucked into that. Now, when your head coach sits there and says, this is just any other game, and the players are bought into that, that makes them more comfortable. But do not think for a second that they don't understand the implications that this game does have.
Everyone does. I mean, you'd be stupid not to understand it, but at the same time, you have to go into that mentality that this is the game we're going to prepare for. I love the way Ed approached it in his press conference and how he's approached this entire week. If you go back and watch all the interviews and everything leading up to the Bama game for the past couple of years, there was a little too much excitement. It was almost like Ed had to sell you on the fact that LSU could be in this game. This year was totally different. He loves the guys in his room. He knows he has a chance to go into there. He likes his coordinators. He likes his players. And he just feels confident and comfortable. And that obviously comes with winning and a little bit more job security, but he's becoming more and more of himself like every game throughout his career. You could tell it was almost like, oh, I got to prove to people I should have gotten this job. I got to, look at the binder, see what the binder has to say. That shit's done, man. Ed's the coach of our team, and it looks like he's going to be for a while, and he's comfortable, and he's going after it. We're recruiting our ass off, and we're winning games on the field. I couldn't be happier with where the program is today. 3 years ago, maybe people were pissed, and Tom Herman and Jimbo Fisher. And look, I loved Ed Orgeron as much as anyone. I was like, I don't think you can give him this job. And all he's done is done the right things. Have you lost a game here or there where you thought you should win? Absolutely. But that's the growing pains of becoming an elite program. And here we are.
He's no Willie Taggart.
We are what, 3 years into this, and we're going into Bama, the 12-year, 15-year dynasty, however long the little prick's been in Tuscaloosa, and we feel like we can beat them. We're ready. We're ready year 3 to take on the big dog. And look, if it doesn't shake out, if LSU plays well and doesn't win, that's okay. It sucks. It'll feel like shit. Alabama will get to troll us for another year. But I'm comfortable with it because we've done everything we can by hiring people, by finding the right talent to be able to be in this spot and to compete for national championships.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. I think we've gotten over a hump to this point. But there's one more.
The second hump of the camel. They always say that's the hardest one.
Right. There's one more we need to get over. And I'll go back in time a little bit here when Ed Orgeron was first hired, and there was no secret of what had to be done.
Yeah.
And that's beat Alabama.
Yep. And he embraced it.
Listen, and that's the one thing he made very clear. I understand the expectations that this job carries.
Yep.
And that's to beat Alabama. You don't win a national championship unless you beat that team in Tuscaloosa.
Well, Alabama, but they can lose. But yes, go on.
Exactly. My point is, it is okay for him and the team to downgrade the magnitude of this game that's coming up right now. But we need to understand as fans and as media that everything we have done to this point is to win this football game. Everything from getting Joe Burrow, from getting Joe Brady, from implementing this offense, From going to a run-focused approach against Auburn to the pass protection that we did against Florida, everything that we have done has been a calculated approach to game plan and prepare for this one game that'll get us past something that we have not been able to do in 8 freaking years.
Yep.
And it all comes together this Saturday. I think LSU has been shocking the nation all season long. I think they have one more surprise, and I think that happens this Saturday.
I hope it's a few more surprises, but yeah, look.
But I think if we not blow out, we're not blowing out Alabama, but if we come into Alabama and we execute, and that's the difference. It's not just implementing a new offense, man. It's not just coming in and getting a new style of offense with Joe Brady or getting Joe Burrow. We are executing at a level higher than anyone in the country right now, with a quarterback playing better than anyone in the nation. We have not had that in 8 seasons. That's why I feel confident that this is the time.
Yep.
I think it has finally arrived where it is all lining up and is coming together for us to get over that second hump and to shock LSU fans. We've been shocking everybody else, but the true fans that have been watching, this is no surprise. We knew this could be happening. We were capable of doing this. What we're going to do this Saturday, I truly feel, is the last hurrah of, oh shit, this is legit. This is real. And we can actually go into the playoffs and compete with Fields at Ohio State, with Lawrence at Clemson. And guess what? If we have to play Alabama again, we're going to show that we can go toe-to-toe with them.
Yep. Look, I agree. And look, this may be a little bit of a beta mindset, but my expectations for LSU are to be in this spot, to be going into Alabama game, no one knowing if you can win or lose, being undefeated going into that game, not losing to the bullshit games that you should have, but you had a turnover or you didn't throw the ball. That shit's done. We're walking into Tuscaloosa with a damn strong football team, as Les Miles would say. And if it's not good enough, if that's what happens, that's fine. This is only getting started. It's keeping going. I'm ready, man. I think the team's ready. You said something about putting it on the national stage. I think there's still a few people out there that kind of think, oh, well, let's wait until we see Bama because they can't run on Bama. They can't move the ball on Bama. You know, there's always going to be those people. And
that's fine. That's
the goalpost is going to keep getting extended. It's like, oh, well, Ed probably can't win a playoff game. And that's fine. We're in the position to do it. And this game's going to come down to the playmakers making plays on the field because there's a shit ton of NFL talent that's going to be littered across the field on Saturday. Who makes the plays? Which team gets the costly fumble? Which team, muffs a punt? It's going to be the little things because both these offenses are going to move. They're going to attack the defense. Right. Tua's going to put up points. Burrow's going to put up points. It's who makes the plays. Who makes that tackle from Jerry Jeudy instead of being a 30 or a 80-yard touchdown, it's a 10-yard gain. How many of those little plays? I think it's the minute stuff for once. It's not like, oh, well, hopefully we can hit a deep shot and we can keep up with them. That's done. We're going to go in and be LSU football. And if it's not good enough, then it's not good enough.
No, I absolutely agree. And I think that's why, like you talked about.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's a good week.
Let's go.
But no, I agree with you in a sense that's why if I do think that if we come up short, it's going to be just short.
Yeah.
And we're still going to be right there in discussion to be a mulligan, right? To have a chance at going against them again. I don't think they're going to come out here and beat our ass. I don't think we're going to go in there and beat the shit out of them. Yeah. I think this is going to be a hard-nosed, elite level football game that we're going to see. I do believe we come out on top because of just how effective our offense has been and how just, I would say, big play their offense has been. I do not believe that Alabama will sustain drives on LSU.
I think it comes down to red zone. I really do.
It's going to come down to them hitting the big plays. How many Jerry Jeudy over the tops or Devontae Smith slants that get broken for touchdowns? They're going to hit those big plays. No doubt about it. That's who they are. I believe Najee Harris, I saw a stat that his longest run's 25 yards.
Isn't that wild?
I do not. They're not going to run the ball on us.
I agree.
Tua is going to have to hit these big plays to beat LSU. How many big plays are we going to give up? That's my point here. I do not believe that Tua and Alabama are going to hit that many more big plays than we are going to have consistent drives. I think we have played way more consistent football than Alabama has. We can still hit whenever we want. We can hit the big plays, but it's our running game, it's our consistency that I feel is another level than them right now.
Well, look, man, and a lot of the stats and the numbers for the offense and everything are extremely similar. The only difference is LSU's played a lot better defenses that Alabama's played, so that makes me feel good. We can't have this safety and corner looking at each other with the hands in the air. You know,
Right.
That's the stuff that hopefully got worked out in the previous 8 weeks, and Aranda and them have been scheming, so everyone's on the same page. That's how I feel like Alabama can take that lead. Like if they're just going to try to nickel and dime us to death, I like the way our defense has played when they've been backed up against the goal line and having to get stops. LSU's been incredible in the red zone. And yeah, against Auburn, against Mississippi State, they've settled for too many field goals. But I think that's where it's really going to. I think both of these teams are going to eat in between the 20s. You know, I think it's just going to be a track meet. And then it's what happens. Can your special teams? You know, Alabama's had kicker problems forever. LSU's kicking has been good, a little murky at times.
Yeah, this year is scary.
You know,
Cade York is scaring me this year.
it is scary, but honestly, it's not as scary if you're an Alabama
They're
fan.
worse than us.
If you're an Alabama fan and you're sitting here saying, "Oh man, a kick to do it," I think you would rather LSU be kicking than your own guy. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Up till this season, though, I don't know. I feel like Cade York has not been real clutch this year.
I get it. He's been fine. Look, I think he's been good. He had like a missed extra point. He's missed a couple field goals here and there. I'm just telling you, I think.
No, they have issues. Absolutely.
And that's been their Achilles heel, if you will. Normally they outscore people by 30, so it doesn't matter.
We have definitely been better than them.
But can we get the
when it
stops?
comes to
You know, in the
kicking, yeah.
2011 game, it was a lot of movement in between the 50s, and then they missed all those field goals in between the 50s. You like that?
Yeah.
Right in between them. And that's kind of how it played out. And obviously, I think there's going to be more points scored in this game and everything. But I really do. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Which team can punch the ball in when they get inside the red zone? Which defense is going to make a big play? Can Stingley make a pick in the end zone again, like he did against Florida? I think both of these teams are so talented and they're very similar. Very similar. So we'll see who makes the plays.
No, it's going to come down to big plays. I really feel like it's a game of matchups.
Yeah.
And I feel like our receivers are more elite than their defensive backs. I truly believe that Joe Burrow is going to pick that team apart. Do I believe that our defensive backs are more elite than their receivers? No, I don't. I think that they have great receivers. I think it's going to come down to the big plays. Like
all these corners are going to get beat. They're going to get beat
The
constantly
receivers,
throughout this game. The
yeah.
receivers are too good. The offensive schemes are too good. The way the game's officiated now, it's too hard to defend. It's just a matter of making the play. You can get beat 6 times if you get a pick. That's a great job.
You have to weigh the options here and the offensive consistency. Can we develop an offensive game plan that can wear some clock out?
Yeah.
Can you run the ball when you have to? Can Joe Burrow escape the pocket and hit people in the scramble?
Protection.
Or can we tempo the shit out of them and keep them off balance?
That's what I'm saying. I think it really is going to come down to a Tua versus Burrow. And this is going to be a Heisman level competition here. It's going to be everyone viewing this. The national perspective on this is going to be spotlighted by a quarterback competition. And I truly think that Joe Burrow has been more prepared to this
Do you think
point.
LSU's going to be able to run the ball? Because I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Absolutely. This is not the same Alabama defense that we've been seeing every year.
Look, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think.
Is that making noise? I don't
Yes.
hear it when I'm doing
Oh
that.
yeah, no, it's doing something.
Y'all keep looking.
Yeah, it's
every
making
time.
some
I can't
noise.
hear anything.
It's a lot of static. It's okay. I think Hilaire, Ty Davis Price, Ed kind of said we have 2 backs. I thought that was a little interesting thing that he
Ty
said
Davis
out there.
is here to stay.
Oh no, I agree. He said 2. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we're finally to that point. We've tried to develop somebody in that second role there with Clyde's backup.
Yeah.
And I think Ty Davis Price is clearly that guy to this point. Do I think we run on Alabama? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
Do I
we
think
run
Alabama
better.
runs on us? No.
Not as well. Not as well. I'm really interested to see what Dave Aranda has dialed up. Are we, for 2 months now, we've been saying, oh, he's been watching the Clemson film and he's working on this. Ed said he's got 350 schemes up on the wall, whatever. Are we going to see something like a Chase on dropping into that slant spot when Tua's not expecting it? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. If we're going to get a little more exotic and say, we're not holding anything back anymore. We're not working on anything. We're going to fly at 1,000 miles per hour, let guys come up and play, have Delpit up in the middle making plays. I don't know. I'm just excited to see it. And it's nice to know that your defense can give up a couple touchdowns. Like it used to be, it's like, oh man, they got 20, game over.
No, I think we're absolutely going to be in position to stop this offense. I think Dave Aranda has always put us in a good position against Alabama to succeed. I think offensively has been our issue on moving the ball on that defense. I think, listen, I don't know if it was a couple seasons ago, we start the game off with an interception, right? Or is it last season? No, it was a couple years ago. It was with Jamal Adams. He starts off with a pick, first drive, right? I think if we're in that position this season, if Delpit comes up with a big play, if Stingley comes up with a pick, we're scoring points.
Yep.
It's not just going to be a waste clock, punt it away, flip field position type of game.
Good here.
No, we're scoring touchdowns this year. So if you create turnovers, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a huge win. I think it's a momentum swing, and I think it finally matters to win the possession on defense.
I agree. Look, and I don't know, this may be a little off topic, but with all the news about Jamal Adams, the trades and all that stuff, for some reason I just sat there thinking about it, and I was like, would I trade junior Jamal Adams for junior Grant Delpit like right now on this team? Yeah, like exactly where they are. It was a
different skill set.
I know. I went back and forth on it and just started thinking about it. I meant to like text you and I just didn't. So why not do it live on the pod?
What'd you go with before I get my take here?
I think, look, I love Delpit. I think give me Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Delpit regressed, but at the same time, oh man, it's going to go against my player of the game take.
We can move on.
I think Delpit, to be honest with you, I think Delpit has a huge game against Alabama.
Look, I agree. I'm not like slighting him.
I don't think he's been saving himself per se. But I will say
big players, big time games, all those fancy
It's
sayings.
Burrow and Delpit. I think Burrow and Delpit have to have the biggest games of their lives. Everyone is watching. It's Burrow's Heisman moment ×2. It's Delpit's coming out party as a surefire first round draft pick. He already is, right?
It's if you're getting top 5.
But I think it's one of those things where he already has that momentum going for him, and this is just kind of like, hey, I'm going to show out with everyone watching against Alabama. I think Delpit is that type of player that he can selectively do that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to make a play. I think if we're talking best games as a junior, I'd go Delpit.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying there's a right answer or wrong answer. It's just one of those things that I was like, man, imagine Jamal Adams on this defense. And I was like, well, I guess you'd have to take away Delpit. And like, I just started, running those scenarios. It's bye week, man. A lot of shit happens upstairs.
A lot of shit happens in bye weeks, man. A lot of shit happens. Look, Willie Taggart's gone. We'll get into a little bit of college football later. We've got probably about a half hour left here on the podcast. We'll talk about some college football. But honestly, the LSU Bama matchup, it's just so big. We have so many storylines to talk about.
It's all
so
that
we're
matters.
not going to get too much into that just yet. I don't know. Where do you want to go from here? You want to talk a little bit more about the game plan? Grant's pouring another wild turkey shot.
Yeah, I guess we got time. Season. It's turkey season.
Turkey season. Well, when are we having a fire, man?
Yeah.
When it cools down.
When it cools down.
All right. I don't know. Where can we go from here? I mean, we can just talk shit about Alabama a little more, Hey, look, video of Tua. He wasn't driving his hips.
About the video.
He wasn't really stepping into his throw, Mike.
Tua's fine.
I love when that shit happens because everyone's like, I don't know. It's like, look,
he's
man.
a little gimpy. No, he's gimpy,
but it's also
that hasn't
like
affected shit with his upper extremity.
It's also the first reps of like a skeleton throw. It's not like we're doing game movements and jumping through. I'm fine.
No, we're good.
It's literally, it's like warming up in baseball, just pitching the ball around, and everyone's freaking out about it. Guess what, man? Tua's going to play, and Tua's going to be damn good. I think one of the main things is if LSU can pressure him, if LSU can make him have to move around. If he's just going to sit in the pocket, nothing's going to change. He's going to throw those slants. He's going to throw really nice deep balls like he always does. If we can get some pressure, if Chaseon's chasing him all afternoon, if you can get Brooks firing up the middle on one of those stunts they run,
right.
That's where I think the ankle and stuff comes into play.
Yeah.
Get him a little rattled, put a couple hits on him. Whenever we played him at home, somebody laid a real big lick on him, and I think it hit him in the nuts, and everyone got all crazy. That's what you got to do to this guy, man, because there's a reason why he was one of the #1 quarterback. He's projected #1 in the draft. He's a really good player. I mean, he's maybe not as good as Bo Nix at throwing against zone defenses, but I mean, Tua's a really good player. I want to see if we can get him off his mark because a lot of times in this season, getting pressure on the quarterback, especially with not a ton of blitz, has been a little bit more of an issue on the defense.
Outside of Joe Burrow, you're not going to find a more accurate quarterback. And I think Tua at 80% is still the best quarterback that we're going to see all season, outside of if we make the playoffs and we play. I know Trevor Lawrence has played like shit.
Give me Tua.
No.
I thought I would have said Lawrence, but after watching this year,
Before the season, absolutely Lawrence. Right now, Tua is behind Burrow, though. I think numbers even prove that. I think Fields is a more dynamic quarterback when it comes to running.
I hope we get to see that game. Like, it'd suck if it was in the Fiesta Bowl and not in the playoff.
I want to play all of them. I want to play all of them.
Dream scenario, you take Clemson out in the first round and play Ohio State in the second.
It.
What a fun year that will have been.
I want to beat the shit out of Ellinger, Nix, Trask, Tua, Fromm, and then go into beat the shit out of Lawrence, and then finish it with a national championship against Fields and Ohio State. I think it would be a wonderful way.
What a run that would be.
It would be incredible. It would be the best ever.
Yeah, someone would need to make a documentary on it.
Yeah, we'll do it. No, my point is, though, to this point, Tua is absolutely the best quarterback you're going to see, regardless of
the best receivers.
If he's 90%, 80%, even a 70%, Tua is the best quarterback that you're going to face this season. And probably until the playoffs. I think 100% Fields is probably better than a 70% Tua.
Yeah,
it's the big plays. That's the thing. It's the quick strikes to Devontae Smith across the middle. If Christian Fulton doesn't wrap up there, that's a touchdown.
Yep.
You can't give that type of stuff up.
Guys like Vincent Stevens, Eric Monroe, whoever the hell, Cam
Yards
Lewis,
after
not
catch
Xavier Lewis, Cam Lewis.
Be crucial.
That's going to be huge. It's not just about Tua. It's about these explosive wide receivers and how many opportunities we give them. I think offensively, we'll get into it here. I think our game plan going into it is going to be a perfect combination of everything we've seen. I think Joe Burrow has been prepared with crowd environment. I think, listen,
I'm not worried about Joe Burrow in the moment or any of that. I'm just not.
At Texas, that he had his Heisman moment in week 2.
Yep.
At Texas. You can say what you want about what Texas has done right now, but in week 2, with Tom Herman preparing that team all year for this game against LSU, with everyone there in that stadium.
Teams are a lot better when they think they're good.
Joe Burrow had a Heisman moment at that game, right? And that environment has prepared him for the rest of this season. Facing the pass rush against Florida, facing the top defensive tackles against Auburn. I really believe this offense is so prepared for this environment that they're about to face against Alabama. Before we get into that, what do you feel about 2:30? I love 2:30.
I don't hate it in this situation. Like I think big games should always be played at night. It's just kind of how I feel, and I guess that's probably just growing up.
We don't get the lights. We don't get the elephant. Well, I guess the elephants are still there.
I get it.
It's gonna be dark.
The
game's gonna last 8 hours.
He is right.
It's CBS.
It's true.
He is right, but I almost kind of wish we would go into that environment with their stupid fucking light show and the and then we just stuck it right to
in
him.
the trunk.
Stuck it.
Right in the elephant trunk.
I almost said in them. I was like, don't go there.
You almost
Joe Burrow's gonna shove it.
Penetration.
But
Whoa.
I think 2:30's fine. I'd rather, if we could have like Herbie on the call, then yeah, give me
When's
the 2:30.
the last time this game was at 2:30? Should I look
2010.
that up?
That's something that
Probably.
you're paid for.
Yeah, I would say 2010 because wasn't 2011 the first time they moved it to the prime time spot? I really think that's what it was. LSU probably won that game.
Probably.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we've won so many of them recently; it's hard to keep count.
No, 11 was our last win.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe not in 10. There was the one game with the D'Angelo
It
Peterson.
was in 10. It was in 10. Was the game before that? Whenever we were home,
Yeah,
we were at that game. That was
it? It wasn't it was the D'Angelo Peterson reverse.
We're gonna figure this out.
Jordan Jefferson passed to Ruben Randall. All that good shit.
It was the 4th and 1 reverse to D'Angelo Peterson where he got knocked out on the half-inch yard line.
I believe so. Grant's looking it up, so we'll take some time to focus on that.
So we know
there.
that will work out.
But wild turkey season, right? So 2:30 though, I do think takes a little bit of the edge away from Alabama. I think
it's nice to not sit around and have to think about the game all day. If you're a wide receiver or anyone playing, it's like, hey, get up, go to breakfast.
Or
we're heading to this. Yeah, anything, anything, man. The little things are what's gonna be the difference in this game. I don't think either team can go in there and win by 20 against the other. I just think they're too good a team. I think it's going to be going into the 4th quarter where it's like a 3-point game, a 7-point game, and you're like, okay, I think we got a chance. this is the first time I really feel like Alabama fans are worried about this game. And I talked
For
about it a
sure.
little bit earlier, how they always kind of watch this and we're like, yeah, we can stop that. I don't think that that's how they're thinking right now. I think they're being a little more defensive than normal
Well, that's what
because they're worried.
happens. Well, that's what happens when you play one ranked opponent all season.
Hey, Duke's not bad.
And the other team that you're playing has played 3 top 10 opponents to this point and have set records and marked the history book in their own school's record book. So yeah, I think they are not worried. I do feel like they have shown a little more respect to LSU than they have in the past. I'll pull it that way. So let's get into some player of the games, and then we'll get into some score predictions. Offensively, I do believe Joe Burrow has to have his finest game.
Yep.
I believe he will have his finest game. I think the stage has been set for Joe. I think when Joe is backed up against the wall and the spotlight is on him, he performs. I didn't know he was injured last year for the Bama game. That was news to me.
Yeah, kept under wraps.
I think with this new offense, though, I think you don't look at last year. I don't think you look at any other year that we have performed against Alabama to this point. I think Joe Burrow has a final stamp and a Heisman moment pre-playoff. I think he had it against Texas. I think he's had it every game up to this point. And I think against Alabama, he stamps his name as the Heisman frontrunner and the winner, to be honest. I think he wins the Heisman this Saturday.
Yeah, so look, sorry, Grant just went on and showed that it was the 2010 game, LSU 24-10. I remembered because that was my 21st birthday, and we all went to the casino after. Remember?
I believe we were all there.
Yeah, the whole crew.
Is
Anyway,
that how to pick you up?
I don't remember. We'll get into that off the air.
look, it's hard to argue. I can't argue with that. Joe Burrow will have to play. I'm going to say it's the running game is going to be the player of the game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Ty Davis-Price, and even the offensive line blocking
That's a
for
huge
it.
player. So the running game
Just the running game
is the key to victory.
Look, we can call it Clyde. We can call it Clyde, but if LSU can run the ball, then Joe Burrow is going to be able to do work, and that's just how I feel. I think if we're
going to run the ball.
I think if we're a one-dimensional team, that's where you get a little worried. You know, Nick Saban's always been pretty good against like a one-dimensional offense. I mean, we've seen it for the last decade. I think if we can do both,
So excited for this.
yeah, exactly.
sorry.
If LSU can prove that on 2nd down and 10 they can pick up 15 yards running the ball, or it's 3rd and short, and we can get our nose dirty and push them back like we haven't been able to do, that's what's going to allow LSU to win. I think Burrow has to be great. I think these receivers they have to keep being excellent as they have been, catching everything, but I just honestly believe it starts with Clyde in the running game.
I do too. I agree with you. I think it's not just Clyde. I think being able to defend this defensive line. I think that's what Alabama has beat us on every year. Every year we go into this game plan, it's like, oh, we got Leonard Fournette. Guess what? Their D-line beat the shit out of us.
Yeah.
We go into it with like, oh, okay, we got some good play action plays set up with Danny Etling. We have no time to do it because their defensive line's kicked our ass. I think pass protection is huge. Joe Burrow is going to flourish with our pass protection because we will be able to defend it. But like you said, being more balanced and having Clyde have a big game is very huge. So I agree there. What, Grant?
2 crucial things. Tight ends and running backs. Throwing them the ball, that's one thing Nick Saban does not cover, right? So I think those two in the passing game, those 2 positions are going to have a big night. How is he going to cover those and our other animals out on the outside?
You got to pick your poison, just like LSU's going to have to do with all the studs Bama's going to put out there. You have to just say, like, this is the closest thing that we're okay with them getting this. And Alabama's going to have to do that with us. I agree. Moss could be a massive factor, especially blocking, man.
He's gotten better each week.
He's been a great receiving tight end, and you're right. Every week, if you just watch him, he absolutely lays somebody out on a chip block or something.
Physicality from our receivers are going to be huge too. Not just Moss.
Blocking downfield.
Moss starts it, but the phicality of a Jamar Chase is contagious. I think blocking.
And Jefferson gets dirty downfield.
Sick. He's pretty nasty. He's probably the best receiver on our team. He might be the best player on our team besides Joe Burrow. But I think Jamar Chase catching these quick slants and dragging a corner. I hope he drags his ball sack all over Surtain for 10 yards.
Wouldn't it be great to beat them after he said he's going to Bama to win championships? Like, oh yeah, you lost one and have fun in the Fiesta Bowl.
The only thing better would be to do it against Dylan Moses.
Yeah.
But he's unhealthy.
He'll be on the sidelines. Don't you worry.
He's weak.
He'll be waving that towel.
But I think of Jamar Chase catching slants, out strengthening the defense for the extra yard. I can't wait to see it from our offensive attack. Defensively,
I know you're going to go Grant Delpit. I think it's a guy like a Tyler Shelvin or a Rashard Lawrence. Someone on the line has to be able to hold up, get the run blocking, get some pressure on the pass blocking. I really do. I think for years we've lost this game in the trenches, and it's obvious to see, and I understand the scheme was way worse back then, and it's a lot better now. But football a lot of times comes down to the trenches. You can have all the talent in the world. If you can't block the guys up front, then what does it matter? Have we progressed? Last year, all Ed said was we got to get better in the trenches. They bullied us in the trenches. Here we are with a lot of the same guys, a year more experience. They're playing better. They've gotten better. Great job of the coaching staff. Ed's hired a lot of great guys to help them. Is it enough? Can we get pressure on Tua? Can we get him off his mark? Let him play a little rattled. See what it's like to be in the dirt a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I want.
And I think the person that will get his dick in the dirt enough is going to be Grant Delpit. I don't think it's just going to be a Delpit shining moment in coverage.
Yeah.
I think Grant Delpit is going to have a lot of blitz packages, especially with Divinity out. We're going to create a lot more creative blitz packages. We're not just going to see the basic stunt that we've seen with Chase on or Divinity in there or Brooks. I think we are going to see more safety presence on the line. I think we're going to create pressure and confusion, and I think we're going to make it very uncomfortable for Tua.
Yeah,
Tua's playing. People that are talking about Tua being gimpy and not playing and all that bullshit, stop it. He's
playing.
The minute he went down against Tennessee, you should have known from the get-go, this is simply
a 20-day injury or whatever.
This is simply precautionary because LSU's the next real opponent. So just stop. He's playing. I think we are going to do everything possible to make him uncomfortable and guard himself against us. I think what you do in that situation is you bring the heat with quick players that can match his speed. And I think that's Delpit. I think that's Brooks. I think that's fast guys off the edge like Clark and Queen. But I do think the best players on your team are going to win this game for you. I think the MVPs and the first rounders show up. I've got Burrow and Delpit.
Yep. Look, I'll go Elaire, and we'll go with Rashard Lawrence, the senior, a guy,
breakout,
a 5-star player that we thought would be like
He's so crippled.
Yeah, I know, but like Auburn, Auburn has these D-line guys that get out there and just maul people. That's who we thought Rashard Lawrence was when he's committed.
Yeah.
And if he does it this game, then it's all been worth it. And I don't know, man. I just keep looking at it. Do you think this game's going to start slow, kind of like the Texas game where you think, oh, my God, both these offenses, and then it starts out like 3-0 at the end of the first? Or is it going to be just let's go?
My opinion, I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
And most of the time I am.
Yeah, sometimes.
I believe we take the kick, and I think we score quick. I honestly think we're going to go up like 14-0 and shock the shit out of people. And it's going to be a catch-up game for Alabama the whole time. It's going to be a close game.